Lesson 10-2, Measuring Angles and Arcs. A central angle is an angle with the vertex at the center. So the vertex of the angle, which remember is the center point of the angle, is the center of the circle. The sums of the central angles adds up to be 360. So in this picture we have central angle 1, central angle 2, and central angle 3. So if we look at it, the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equals 360 degrees. It's going to go all the way around the circle. A minor arc is the shortest arc. So it's a portion of the circle. So in this picture, AB is a minor arc. It's less than 180 degrees. And the measure of this arc right here is equal to the measure of the central angle. So it's equal to the central angle. So in this picture, let's say that this central angle is 42 degrees. So the measure of angle APB, which is the central angle, is 40 degrees. Excuse me, 42 degrees. The measure of the arc AB would also be 42 degrees. A major arc is the longest arc. It's between 180 degrees and 360 degrees. Has to be less than 360 degrees. So if I look at this, the major arc here would be 360 minus 42. Which would give us 318 degrees. So the measure of arc ACB would equal 318 degrees. A semicircle is half of the circle. So this right here is the semicircle. So the endpoints are the diameter. Lie on the diameter. And the measure of a semicircle is always 180 degrees. Arc addition means that you can add adjacent arcs. And when you add them, so the adjacent arcs, creating a new arc would be the sum of the two measures. Now the difference between arc measure up here when we're looking at this is degrees. So it's like we're looking at something through like a telescope from P to A. Then how many degrees would you have to turn that telescope to look at point B? With the arc length, it's like you're walking from point A to point B. So the arc length would be x degrees over 360 degrees. So that's a portion of the circle that we're looking at times the circumference. So we're looking at the proportion of the circumference that we want. So it's the distance between the two endpoints here. Looking at example problems, We want to find x here, so we're going to look at the sum of the angles. We do have quite a few angles here, but we have this one that's undefined, so I have to look at what do I know? What can I look at this picture since I don't know what angle T is? I can look at this right here. RV is a diameter. So these three angles here have to add up to be 180. So to do this problem, I would do 8x minus 4 plus 13x minus 3 plus 5x plus 5 equals a semicircle, which is 180 degrees. Adding like terms, I have 8x plus 13x plus 5x. That gives me 26x. Minus 4 minus 3 is minus 7. Plus 5 would give me minus 2 equals 180. 26x equals 182. Divide both sides by 26. I get x equals 7. In the next problem, we're going to identify the arcs if they're a major arc, minor arc, or a semicircle, and then find the measure. So the first one is asking us to find x, z, y, which means we start at x, we have to go through z to y, and that's a semicircle. And a semicircle is half the circle, so it's 180 degrees. For the next one, we want to find WZX. So we're going to start at W. We have to go through, W, and we have to go through Z before we hit X. This is a major arc because it's definitely greater than half the circle. And it'd be 180 plus 90 degrees. Which should give us 270 degrees. For the next problem, we're asked to identify XW as a major arc, minor arc, or semicircle. Well, it's definitely less than 180 degrees, so it's a minor arc. And we're told that it's 90 degrees. Here we're asked to find the measure of arc IJK. So I go through J to K. It's definitely a minor arc, and it's less than 180 degrees. To look at it, if I took 180 degrees and subtracted this amount right here, I would get IJK. So I'm going to do 180 minus 32 which would give me 148 degrees. If that's 148 degrees and this is 90, this would make this angle right here have to be 58 degrees because 148 minus 90 is 58. Since this is a vertical angle, this would also be 58 degrees. So looking at the next problem, I want the measure of LHI. So LHI is this right here, which would be 32 plus 58. Which would give me 90 degrees. On this one, I want to find the length of arc, excuse me, not the length, I want to find the length of arc DA. So to remember these, I'm going to use the formula that the length is x degrees over 360 times the circumference, which is 2 pi r. So this would be 40 over 360 times 2 pi 4.5, which is the radius. Multiplying 40 times 2 times 4.5 and dividing by 360, I get the exact answer, which is pi centimeters, and the approximate answer would be 3.14 centimeters. So to get the pi, all I did was take pi out of the equation and just multiply it straight across. I did 40 times 2 times 4.5, which is 360, and 360 over 360 is 1. The next thing I want to find is the length of DC, which is this length right here. Now, so to do the length, since this was 40 degrees, 180 minus 40 gives me that this central angle here is 140 degrees. So the length is 140 over 360 times 2 pi times 4.5. Which gives me 3.5 pi centimeters, which is approximately 11 centimeters. And that concludes our lesson for 11.2.